Hey everybody, it's Tim at Broken Dice bringing you the quick little channel update here on my Iberian campaign. This is the first battle. It's turn number 2, and since there's a lot going on, I'm going to start dividing the videos up into different sides of each turn, and in this one we're going to focus on the Iberian action. Alright, orders phase. Okay, if you looked at the other two videos, you know that I've been employing some cards to help with the orders phase. Playing Hail Caesar without another human opponent, you don't want the game to bog down too much into a lot of failed orders and all that kind of stuff. You want the action to keep flowing. So what I do is I give each side a suit of cards. So when there's a failure of an order roll, they have an opportunity to play a card, and the other side has an opportunity to play a card, and whichever side wins. If the defending side wins, then the failed order roll stands, but if the person that rolled the failed order is successful, they can choose to alter the roll by up to 3 if they win the card flip. In this example, as you can see on the screen, there's a jack and a 5 on the table. The 5 of diamonds represents the Roman card, and the jack of clubs represents the Iberian card. The Iberian left division commander had failed his order roll, rolling a 9 on a leadership of 8. So wanting to alter that roll, the cards were played. Now I do this randomly. I just put the cards face down and I just pick a card. And these are the ones that came up. So he wins by, basically a jack is an 11, so he wins by more than enough to alter the order roll by 3. So subtract the 3 from the 9, you get a 6. His leadership is 8, so therefore it's successful by 2, and therefore that division gets to move 2 moves. All right, with all the other divisions passing their orders tests by 3, all along the line, the Iberians advance. Okay, let's take a look at the Iberian left division. And here you can see at the bottom of the screen, the Iberian cavalry and a unit of Scutari attacking the Roman cavalry. Then in the middle, you have the Iberian left division commander and 2 units of Scutari attacking a cohort of Romans, which they destroy, thus the red explosion marker. And the green arrow represents their sweeping advance into another unit. And then above them, the Iberian general and 2 units of Scutari have come into contact with another Roman cohort. All right, let's just talk about the combat down at the bottom of the screen with the cavalry. It wound up being a draw. The next combat, after wiping out the unit of Romans, the cohort, this Iberian division commander's unit swept forward into another unit of Roman cohort, and then lost the combat. But they rolled high enough so where they just held their ground and in good order. Now, above them, the Iberian general and his 2 units of Scutari have pushed back a cohort and put them into a disorder. Okay, this shows the pictures of the Iberian left at the end of the combat. Kind of gives you a representation of what this side of the battlefield is beginning to look like, how the movement and pushing back of units, when units give ground and when units hold their ground, how things can begin to change and morph into something other than just these straight up battle lines. This is what I prefer in a war game. I really like this sort of large unit movement around the battlefield. Okay, now this picture here shows in the turn kind of the starting points of some of the units, where they wound up, and in relationship to everything else that was going on around them. Let's start off to the left. We just finished up going over the Iberian left combat phase, and you can see where that one cohort was destroyed. The Iberian general, how he got into position, attacked a cohort and drove it back in disorder. And now let's take a look at the very center. And this is where, and I have to be honest, this is where I made a rules mistake and misunderstanding. I was under the impression, and I don't know where I came up with this. Once I read it, I thought, "Oh, you dummy." And then it's like, yeah, here we go. So I didn't think that a disordered unit could be supported, when actually it's the reverse. A disordered unit cannot support another unit. And when you read it that way, it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. They're disordered. Well, I made a mistake, and that is why, as you look here in the center of the battlefield, these units tend to split around the middle. Because in my mind, I said, well, I can't support that unit, so why run up there and just get all bogged down and doing all this stuff when I can't do anything? But that was a misunderstanding of the rule, and so therefore I'm going to have to deal with that in some other way. And this is why I like doing these solo battle reports sometimes, because you just kind of go over things and you go, you go back and read through them, and there you go. Okay, so we look at the center and we understand why these units are splitting around. So let's look over to kind of the right center where there's a lot of these green and red blocks. You can see where a unit of Scutari have moved forward and then turned right to charge into the flank of a Roman cohort. A light infantry unit has been defeated by that cohort and forced to give ground and are disordered and shaken. Where the cohort itself has been destroyed by the charging Scutari, and the light green arrow at the very top of that unit shows them advancing into the flank of 2 cohorts. And that, by the way, had just destroyed a light infantry unit on this turn itself. So this kind of gives you a kind of a panoramic and an all battlefield view and why things are where they are. Okay, this is a close-up of that sort of action that I just described. This, on the left, the Scutari are charging into the flank of that first cohort. Yeah, that light infantry that has the disorder and the shaken marker on it, they're the ones that fall back. The Scutari charge into there and destroy that unit of Romans, the cohort, because what has happened here is that they needed to give ground, but they couldn't give enough ground because they would have run into a unit that is in combat and can't move out of the way, and so for that unit is destroyed. And then with the little black arrow on the picture on the right, you can see that they're moving forward into that combat with the 2 cohorts. All right, right here. So this light infantry unit here that's shaken and disordered by the blue explosion marker, that shows that unit gets destroyed. And the advancing Scutari roll for their sweeping advance and become disordered. And then we end up with the cavalry battle on the far Roman left and the Iberian right, basically, and it too ends in a draw. I find that very interesting because somewhere one of these cavalry flanks, somebody's going to win this, and I think that's going to be very decisive in the rest of the battle. Well, that's all we have for this one. The Roman part or phase of turn 2 is coming up. I haven't rolled any dice for that yet. I haven't been feeling well this week, so I'm going to try to get that one in and put it in the can this weekend. Hopefully I can have that up and ready to go early next week. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of things that can happen. It's kind of, there's a lot of places where the battle can go either direction. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Hope you like this video. If you don't, I'm sorry. This is kind of what I like to do sometimes. It gives me a break from all the 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 hobbying and the painting and terrain work and all that kind of stuff. Um, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe down below. Give me a like. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And everybody stay safe, stay well, and I will see you next time.